An alternative investment can be anything from real estate. It can be ownership shares in a private company. It can be crypto. It can be art. It can be any type of vehicle a person deems an investment product, but these are the ones that aren't publicly traded.
Okay, and what's up, guys? This is Lionel with Crypto Convos, episode 3, powered by Blockchain Games. Here, Lionel, our host, Brian Wells, co-host. And today we have a very special guest. I'd like to welcome Jeremy Johnson. What's up, Jeremy?
What's up? Thank you for having me.
So, man, diving right into it, bro. Can you let us know how you got into crypto?
Yeah, so I actually got into crypto back in 2017. My business had been growing and I knew I needed to be getting more involved like with my own finances. And so I was like, hey, I had been taking some time and been learning about the stock market and how to do it. And I was like, well, now I need to really start putting the rubber to the road. And so as I went out to start learning about how different ways I could invest in the stock market, crypto just kind of like got on my radar. I was like, well, I need to know about this as well as regular stocks. And then I kind of went down a rabbit hole and then I got converted, started telling everybody I knew. And that was like right before, I think I got in right when Bitcoin was like 1250. And then I started buying it and I was like, wow. And then obviously it started going up. So I was like out here being a pastor, telling everybody I knew about how.
The evangelist.
Man, what caused that conversion? Because to this day, a lot of people are still skeptical about crypto.
Conversions in what regard?
What caused you to really go full faith on it?
Okay. So what helped me was once I kind of saw the principles of like an open financial system, like not being able to censor something that was taking like the creative energies of people online and was providing a way for people to measure that in a unit of account. I was like, yo, that makes sense. Like we're in a digital world. People need a way to pay each other around the world. It has a track record in history. It's been around. And then when I saw like how it was kind of like a contra to the Federal Reserve where the money supply could keep increasing and how this was deflationary, I was like, well, at minimum, it's a good experiment. And the fact that it's open source, being in software, I noticed open source always beats closed source. Closed source might be nicely more packaged and neater, but open source typically wins. That's where the Wild West is. So
right, it evolves. It evolves faster,
right.
having everybody's input in it.
Right. Mm-hmm. The idea of a Wild West of a money system was very attractive to me.
Bars.
So you got involved in crypto, you said in about 2017, right?
Yeah.
That was about the time that I met you, and we actually did an event, and we did a crypto event, and nobody showed up, right?
Oh, good, yeah.
Nobody showed up, and now we're here, so it's super cool. But you moved down to Miami, and tell us a little bit about what you're doing down there professionally. And
sure.
Yeah.
So I moved to Miami in 2019. I can give you a little bit of my professional background and then go into why I moved and what I'm doing here now. So my background is I was a web developer for about 12 years. I've been doing online marketing about 15 years. Then my background was in politics, doing campaigns. And then most recently, when I was in Virginia, I was doing consulting to some of the legislators in the state of Virginia, state legislator. Politics was great. I was getting very successful, making a good amount of income from it, but I wanted to be more in a market that was more advanced. I love Virginia. However, I think Virginia has more of a preservation of what it has been mentality because of an over-dependence on the military and government. I think Florida, Texas are markets that are like looking for or trying to be hotbeds of what's coming next because they don't have state income tax. So they have to make all that money off of consumption. And by having that perspective, you have to be encouraging of all types of new ideas. You can't shut stuff down. So I came down here, came to Miami and was like, wow, this feels like a whole different country, yet you still got the like infrastructure of the United States. So I loved it as soon as I came. Wow. What I'm doing now, once I got down here, my company evolved and we started doing more technology consulting and sales consulting for financial technology firms. And now what I do is I have a site with another gentleman and we run an alternative investment marketplace where we advertise different financial investing opportunities to investors.
Okay.
Can you expound a little bit about what some of those alternative investments are?
So alternative investments are anything that's not publicly traded. That market is much larger than the stock market. So the stock market, you get to buy equities, you got to get to buy ownership or stock in specific companies once they become public. An alternative investment can be anything from real estate. It can be ownership shares in a private company. It can be debt. It can be crypto. It can be art. It can be cars. It can be jewelry. It can be any other type of vehicle. It can be sneakers now. It can be any type of vehicle a person deems an investment product. But these are the ones that aren't publicly traded. So a lot of rich people, more importantly, institutions, they put large sums of money in what we call alternative assets because they're trying to either get payments or they're trying to get capital appreciation from investing in these other assets. So it could be like an office building. Like you see a big office building in Norfolk or Virginia Beach, like the Westin. That's a private real estate holding. But people who most likely who have invested in that fund, they're getting a piece of the upside from that asset. So that's just an example. It could also be the mortgage on the building. There's people who lend, they give you mortgage loans, or those things get bundled up into funds and people invest in them. It could be carbon credit. It could be literally anything.
Wow. So what is the most that you would say are the top three of all those things that
alternative investments? The biggest one is debt, and then the second one is real estate, I believe. Those are the top two. And then I guess technically these are publicly traded, but I think it's like government debt. So like, you want to buy, or like companies will issue bonds, so they need debt. Like Tesla puts out bonds and they want to pull in money. They don't want to give up equity. They want to borrow money. They do it in the form of a debt coupon. Wow. So those I think are like the three biggest ones. It's not really super exciting stuff. But like the debt could be, you go to borrow money for a car, you go to borrow money for your house, you go to a business borrows money. All of that money is pooled in large pools of debt that people lend out, and they make returns from 6 to 12% on.
Wow, okay. Yeah, I mean,
that's how the rich make their money.
Shoot, yeah, we focus on crypto here, but we're also like an investment channel
too.
So that's definitely relevant information. So so crypto, is it still seen as risky even over there?
So now, so that's what's happened, right? So with this platform we have what are called retail accredited investors, and then we have institutional investors. Mm-hmm. Crypto is now becoming institutionalized. So I think where before people were like, oh, there's no way I'm touching it. The way it was told to me by this $1 billion private equity fund, we had a webcast. There's this $1 billion private equity fund that has decided that they're going to, well, they're several times that. They decided they're going to put $1 billion into crypto, and then they're going to put $3 billion into crypto. And they said the way that institutions have currently been looking at it was they were fine with investing in Bitcoin, Ethereum, and venture capital that supported the creation of crypto businesses. Wow. But now there's starting to be products that allow these large institutions to invest into DeFi and staking. That's kind of where they're going now. And what an institution is, let's just take a step back to define that. An institution would be like your insurance company, or your university you went to, the endowment that's attached to that, or the retirement system of Virginia. Most people hear stuff like, oh, the houses are all being bought up by these funds right now. What they don't realize is that they're owners in it too, because those funds get their money from the retirement systems, and then they go and buy these houses because they need stuff that pays them a cash flowing stream. And so, yes, the big institutions are buying up the stuff, but they're buying it up on your behalf, so you have retirement.
And we're talking about BlackRock, Grayscale, Fidelity.
Right. Yeah. Grayscale is offers the products, and BlackRock is the private equity fund that buys these homes. However, BlackRock gets its money from Virginia Retirement System, the endowment at UVA. Like, that's who its customers are.
No, it's really good, like for people to understand this and break down, like how these things come into play.
Yeah.
And I know that you're down in Miami now. You're at the crypto capital. You moved down there. What's it like?
Oh yeah. So
'Cause we're coming down there to come visit you.
when you come, I'll show you around.
Yeah.
First off, this place isn't like the U.S. So I think it has the highest ratio of immigrants. If it doesn't, it's New York. It's definitely second. But what that does is because there's so many first generation or straight up immigrants, I think you just have a much greater desire or appetite for risk taking. So everybody down here is trying to create new businesses, so that's a great thing. It's not like you can walk in 7-Eleven and pay with Bitcoin. However, my office is at this building in Brickell. We're next to the SLS, and on the bottom floor of the SLS, there's a smoke shop, and on the top of the building it says vapes, Bitcoin, or Dogecoin. So you see a lot of Bitcoin ATMs around, and you see a lot of the more like trendier businesses incorporating crypto in kind of their strategy, whether they do accept it or they're trying to piggyback off of like NFTs or things like that. There's also a lot of NFT events. And then I think there's been a great deal of realtors down here or people selling property who will accept crypto as a form of payment. I think that is definitely where you see it a lot. Like people will be like, hey, you want to buy a boat? You can buy with Bitcoin. Hey, you want to buy this mansion? You can buy it with crypto.
Wow.
So
there's a lot of that. Properly, do they have an office down there? Properly, yeah. The real estate crypto company.
Nice. I'm sure they probably have some footprint down here. I'm not familiar with it.
Go ahead, Lionel.
Speaking of crypto real estate, can you go ahead and tell us a little bit about your experience with that so far, with digital land?
Oh yeah. So yeah, digital land. So I'm gonna be honest. At first, when I heard about like all the metaverse stuff, I was kind of like, this doesn't really make sense to me, right? Mm-hmm. But as I've learned more, I'm like, okay, I get it. So we have a client. The name of the company is EI Ventures, and they're currently doing a capital raise for a fund they have. So they bought on the Sandbox a 12 by 12 plot of uninterrupted land. It's right next to Snoop Dogg's, and it's next to this game called Axie Infinity. And so they paid apparently $2 million for this plot of land. They told us they think they got it from an Israeli company that does cybersecurity for the game. Immediately the next day, they started getting phone calls from people trying to buy the property from them at a 10x. So they bought for 2. People were trying to pay them 20 million. So they declined.
Wow. I would have sold.
They have a theory that they're going to be like a Berkshire Hathaway's of metaverse businesses. Wow. I mean, hey, that's cool. So some of the businesses, of course, so you own real estate, you can be in it for the long-term appreciation of the land, but we all have bills to pay. So his background, the owner of the company's background was he's Persian. His parents came to America and they bought land in like the 3 now really great places. They bought some in Manhattan, they bought some in Beverly Hills, and they bought some in Washington, D.C. around Georgetown. Wow. And basically they would partner up with the businesses and get a piece of the revenue of the businesses in the property. So they're taking that same philosophy to the metaverse. And so they're looking at opening up crypto casinos in the metaverse. So like I believe Jamaica has a couple of these Caribbean countries have like casino licenses, and they'll use them, I guess, for the banking infrastructure. But the casinos will have a foot presence in their plot of land in the metaverse. They also were a magic mushroom therapy company. So in Canada, I believe that's seen as a viable therapy from a doctor can prescribe it. I think in Western Canada. So they've been buying a lot of those companies. And I know in Jamaica, you can do it. You can go and get psilocybin treatments prescribed with the like guided shaman. So they're looking at using virtual reality, like VR headsets to help do guided meditations for some people in the future. So wow, sounds crazy, but
that's really cool being so close connected to that and having that's almost like insider information. Like, shoot, that's making me want to buy some sand just knowing that there's companies thinking that deep and that far into the
Yeah.
future on it. That's
So I think like a Snoop Dogg, right? Like, you know how like Travis Scott creates Astro World, and from what I understand, it's almost like his Disney World when he does his concerts.
yeah.
But I'm imagining like a Snoop Dogg could do the same thing, but like he could have Snoop World in the metaverse. Like it's basically a Disney World. You could go in and maybe one sector it's like Snoop Dogg, all the songs he's been on in a video loop playing. Maybe you interact with like virtual versions of him or derivative characters from his comic books. Like, you know, maybe you have one where you smoke a blunt with Snoop. Like, I mean,
digital weed.
yeah, I mean, people are buying digital purses. Why wouldn't they buy digital weed? Where I guess you could make the avatar have similar reactions to how you would have them in the real world. You know what I mean? Honestly, I think it's like possibilities are endless.
Yeah.
It's real wavy in Snoop land.
Yeah,
There you go.
It makes sense though from the company perspective, also an advertisement. Because I mean,
Yeah.
at the end of the day, millions of people looking at something is millions of people looking at.
That's what they were telling us. Like, so apparently, so now if you go to like the sandbox, you can see all these like basically plots all through. So you should like check it out and you can see them all over. Yeah, they're basically billboards, but apparently the sandbox gets 10 million views a day, I think, or a month right now. So even if you just put a plot up and you can make it a clickable link, you can rent out your real estate. And I think that some people probably own large plots and they lease out the ad space to other people.
Right.
I think
so they're already making revenue streams.
Yeah, I think the most expensive house sold recently, it was, you know, just by I think one person, not an organization. It was what, $400,000. One house was sold for in Decentraland, I think.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's really cool. But so you're bullish on metaverse gaming, obviously.
Yeah, like, and I want to say gaming. I think the whole like, I feel like gaming will be a subset, the most popular one, because you know I've been listening to some AI podcasts recently, and they're talking about these concepts of like digital twins and this thing called synthetic data and how the metaverse will be used to replicate scenarios. Let's say if you're trying to build a model, you can use the metaverse as like an example of somebody walked through the grocery store 50 times and they looked at the aisles. You can put the person in the metaverse as an example to see how they are reacting, right? But gaming is what's going to be the thing that keeps people there. Like once you're in the metaverse, well, what keeps you coming back? It's gambling is a form of gaming, right? I mean, so, and then when, you know, I mean, Axie Infinity, you know, you got people on there all day making real money. So how can you not be bullish about gaming in the metaverse?
Yeah. It's like another layer on top of the internet, on top of reality for people to make money and just have an experience. For people to experience, but then also for companies to profit off of.
Exactly. And I think you'll see a lot more of, you know, the bigger company isn't going to, well, I can't say they won't do as well. The bigger company will still do well, but I think you'll have a lot of individual creators who will be crushing it because now it's your imagination is the limitation. I heard him talking about the gentleman from this company, like the cost to produce like real good content. I mean, it's going to be a lot of opportunities for people to get paid nice sums of money building products and services for the metaverse.
Right.
Like, you know, 3D artists, people who come up with economic models for games, like
we're working
everything. Exactly. Everything.
We're working on ours, our blockchaingang.life.
Nice. It's going to be hot.
So, you know, we know the metaverse, you know, it has its moment right now. It's been huge. But what do you see next as an emerging crypto asset class?
So what I think is going to be cool is a category. I'm going to just say it now. I'm calling it learn to earn. And what that is, I think, like you see it on like Coinbase, like you go on Coinbase and sometimes they're like, take this quick quiz, we'll pay you in crypto.
Yeah.
I feel like you're going to see a lot more companies shift their advertising model because think about, all right, a couple of things that have happened is like Facebook has gotten just hurt from Um, Apple restricting access to data. Google's going to do the same thing to them. So how are advertisers going to know that somebody actually retained what their message that they're trying to put out there? So I can see companies switching to a model where they're like, hey, connect your MetaMask, learn about Dove's new detergent, and answer a quiz. From that, we'll pay you in crypto.
Right. Dove
I
coin.
can see stuff like that. Dove coin, and you can convert it to whatever you want. But I can see people being paid to retain information, because how else are you going to get people's attention?
Mm-hmm.
I think that the play to earn category is going to only get bigger, especially with like these crypto games. I think, like Fortnite and all these games are great. They're a controlled metaverse, but like, what about when people want to create their own guns and like they want to become an arms dealer in these games, and then they create a factory where they can resell a certain game like unit. Like I know in like games like Unity, you can make elements and sell them on a marketplace. So people can build the games faster. But I imagine like you're gonna see people building like products that the gamers can buy, and then there's a competition from that. There's probably gonna be specialists on like the physics of the game.
Man,
it's gonna be crazy. Or you even think like I was thinking, we've been in the metaverse because all these filters on like Instagram, they're basically
the metaverse. Yeah.
That's the metaverse.
Yeah, yeah.
So at some point, all of these companies, why wouldn't makeup companies sell filters?
Mm-hmm. Shoot,
they can make a lot of money.
A whole nother metaverse too. I was telling my friend that like, man, we've been participating in the metaverse for a minute now. It just never had a name, and it never had a blockchain, never had tokens on it.
Right.
They made these tokens now and NFTs that just added like, oh, so now we can actually get busy in here.
Yeah, it's money. It's like the problem with before we had money in the world was we had to barter a cow for, a shirt. And what was determining the value? It's like all over the map. It's like if it's really cold, I got to put a higher price on that shirt. If I'm really hungry, I'm going to put a higher price on the cow. What money or tokens do is they give a measurement for everything that's stable, and then you can build a much more efficient economy and stuff can be traded. So yeah, it just makes, honestly, it's like, I think in the future, it's going to be very difficult for people not to be able to make a good income if they're trying. Like you're going to have to try to not, because if you just understand like what you're good at and what you bring to the table, and you learn how to digitize your mind in some capacity into a product that can be consumed, you should be able to make a good income from your ideas.
I agree, man. And I honestly think that for the ones who just don't even want to be involved in making money, I think there's going to be so much money around that there's going to be the UBI, people just want to get paid just for living. You'll get your $2,000 a month, while everyone else is like in the metaverse and doing
making 100,000 a month because they're being creative and whatever. That's cool. Some people, they just want to like fish and do stuff. Cool.
Yeah, they'll sell their attention. Like they'll be playing the games, getting paid to play the game. While
that's the UBI. Their attention.
So we're getting closer to the end here, man. Is there anything that we didn't touch on that you wanted to get to before we head out?
So I mean, I know everybody listening. So what do you guys see? I mean, I'm trying to learn. Like, y'all invited me up here. What do you guys feel that is the next emerging part of like crypto gaming, or like what are y'all excited about?
Me personally, I love the metaverse. I love the idea of digital real estate because I'm a big gamer anyway. But I'm looking forward to when player versus player interaction comes in there, and then there's some kind of like, Grand Theft Auto situations that can go down in the metaverse where you're actually building a character, having some kind of strength and defense, and having, something that you can do there, but then also tying that into making money. I think that'll just it'll up the risk and then up the reward, make it just more exciting place to be around.
Are you saying like almost like a player versus player, like y'all can almost wager against each other? Like, like somebody creates a challenge and then you go against somebody else, and it's almost like, or teams, I assume, could come together and play against other teams, and it's like a bounty.
Yep. And that's when
that's gonna be hot.
And corporations will be really like getting in there, paying
That's gonna
people
be
to
crazy.
train and to play, and so
The trainers will be able to make money. The people who make the weapons will be able to make money. It's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be people making like $1 million in a day from beating another team. And then think about all the advertisement that's gonna attach itself to that.
yep. And the fans, and the viewers, just everything.
But what about like so the NFL has been putting all these sensors in the pads. I imagine at some point everybody's gonna be basically like a skeletal system, and like they'll be able to
Or like
make
a body armor suit.
like yeah,
A
right.
bit of
So
yeah.
and then it's like the real game is also shown in the metaverse, but then you can see the stats, so the person's like
Man.
health or life force, like,
Oh wow.
and you can place bets against it. Like, you know what I mean? Imagine how like crazy fantasy would be if you saw like how tired somebody was or how many hits they've taken during the
And what
game,
that concussion feels like,
what
right?
that concussion feels like, or you can like take the hits with them.
Yeah.
That's gonna be crazy. Man.
You know, I'm really you know, as a business owner and a parent,
Yeah.
I'm very interested to see how I can bring crypto into my business. You know,
Mhm.
already giving employees crypto, as benefits.
Nice.
Getting them, educating them. But my thing is really the education,
Right.
because being a person that I love to help people naturally, I want to see people win. I want to see people celebrate. Getting that education to the public. That's something that we're really big on here with at Blockchain Games, with the crypto curriculum and just passing on that knowledge, because I think, financial literacy is something that, we struggle with in the schools. And
Oh my God.
we're the generation that got duped, go to college, get a job, do this, all that's great, but it didn't work out financially.
Right.
So seeing my children, my kids think Bitcoin, they're talking about Bitcoin, they're talking about XRP. Yeah. My son, he's looking at charts going, Dad, I think that's going to crash soon.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, that's exciting because cryptocurrency is an opportunity of a lifetime. Sure. And to hear my kids talking about it, my two sons, and them just riling on about crypto, that it gives me confidence that, they're going to be okay.
So yeah, I think I agree with you. I feel like, off topic, but kind of on topic, I think what's happening, this is my opinion, with Russia and Ukraine is kind of showing us like we're almost at the end of like the conventional war being an effective tool. And it's because we're moving to the information economy where every person like can contribute something. So when you get to a world where everybody's thoughts are valuable, we have less incentive to commit violence, because you never know where the next idea is going to come from.
Right.
The issue is going to be is so many opportunities that like, how do you pick just the one you want, right? Because like, yeah, it's just too much.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I have a hard time imagining why some people don't support blockchain technology or cryptocurrency, especially
they don't understand.
Especially the ones who seem to be conspiracy theorists. I'm like, bro, this is the answer to all your problems. This is the answer to everything that you complain about as a conspiracy theorist.
So I have a theory now that says everybody needs to like collectively raise their IQ to live in the new world, right? Because it's so much stuff like, like they got sensors everywhere. They got facial recognition systems. Like the amount of information is so vast that I think for some people it's just too much and it's an overload. So I think it's because they don't understand it. And they just don't want to admit they don't understand it.
Yeah, they'll hear something about like energy consumption. That's a big one. That
just run with it.
They just really stick to that. And I'm like, yes, but hold on now. There's solar panels. There's other things we can do. There's different. It's gonna evolve as we continue. But the foundation of decentralization, blockchain technology, like look at what that actually is and how, you can have something that you can trust that is open source and legitimate, and you don't necessarily need like even somebody like Kanye put out. I don't know if you saw him put out, don't ask me to make a fucking NFT.
I saw that.
I make items in the real world. I'm like, bro, NFTs are the most Kanye thing ever. Who on his team is not telling him that?
Yeah, but see, exactly. Like the whole, I think anybody in a creative class, like Snoop is perfect, Kanye's perfect. These guys they already have caricatures. It's like, dude, a Kanye video game like will work great now. Like a Kanye coin will work great now, and you can incorporate it in all of the stuff you're doing. You have the physical version, but you're like 1/100th of all the like stuff that could come from the digital expressions of your ideas.
And he won't need a middleman. He just needs one coder.
Right.
You just need one guy to code this, and it's you and us. No Spotify, no Tidal, no Apple. Just Ye, his coders, and us. Like,
and other creative people he's working with.
Yeah.
I wanted to get on your. I'm sorry, Brian.
Oh no, I was just gonna say it's fear and ignorance.
Of course.
It's fear and ignorance. A lot of people, they don't invest their money. Most people don't. But when you learn about decentralized finance and crypto, I mean, it's a learning curve, but once you get it, you're light years ahead, and so we just got to convert more people.
Optimistic about society. I wanted to say something about the whole the energy thing, because that one blows me. Like, so it's like, again, part of the reason we're having this issue in Russia and Ukraine is over gas pipelines, like, and leverage that one government has over Europe. So if you've seen in Texas has been embracing Bitcoin. And it's like a lot of people will, like you said, they spout a lot of things about stuff they don't really know about. Like, we need renewable energy, but they don't understand like renewable is intermittent, and you need what's called like a base layer of energy. And so you got a lot of like energy that gets wasted right now. So solar panels produce in the hours we don't really need them. And what happens to all that excess energy? And now through Bitcoin, you're able to divert that excess energy to mine Bitcoin. There's a client we had down here, what they basically, their whole hedge fund strategy is that they buy, they get cheap Bitcoin. So what they did was they went to an energy company, they set up their Bitcoin mining operations that were basically, whenever they had overcapacity of energy, they would mine Bitcoin. They maintain the system for them. And in exchange, they get to buy the Bitcoin at 60% of market value. So that keeps the transmission lines at a healthy capacity. And so you're not having the sporadic jumps when you have like high surges of energy needs, because you got Bitcoin fulfilling need. It's just like a vein. The vein works better when there's a nice constant flow going through. You don't want something jumping up and down in demand. It degrades the line. So if you have energy at a much more steady use, it preserves the lines. And so that's an example of how Bitcoin is actually helping green energy to like build out more infrastructure. But people don't want to take the time to understand that.
Yeah, there's no YouTube videos that have said that yet.
It's boring, That's boring.
Yeah, well, that's what we're here for. We're here to get to the real stuff and put it out there,
Right.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
So being in Miami, I want to ask you, what has been the biggest crypto stunt you've seen in crypto capital?
Went to the Bitcoin conference last year, 2021. And basically a helicopter flew over and it dropped Venezuelan money from the sky. Which is great because, the bolivars are worth like next to nothing.
Yeah.
And so that was like, okay, the theatrics are great.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Get out there.
No, it's great. It's great down here. I mean, I call it the wild, wild South. Like, I think it's not for everybody. If you're more the person who likes a very structured, corporate, buttoned up environment, Miami will probably turn you off. But if you like, more of the Wild West feeling or like expression, and another reason, honestly, I like it a lot is this is like one of the only areas in America that minorities are the majority. So Latinos are 75%, then it's Black people, and then it's Caucasians. And, I just think that's just another mix on the American experiment. So it's kind of cool to be in a culture where, loud music is like light. Cool. So if somebody's blasting loud music going down the street, no one's like, what is this? Like people are like dancing in the street or like they're happy about it. So I think that's cool.
Graffiti.
Yeah, graffiti everywhere. It's not seen as an eyesore. It's like, hey, we got a building that doesn't have anyone in it. Let's put a mural on it. And then that ups the value of the building. there's 21 new housing projects being built down here. You don't have NIMBYs who's like, hey, we don't want you to build stuff here. They're like, hey, come on down. So
it's open for business.
Open for business. I mean, it never really shut down during the pandemic. We didn't die. So, you know, and that's kind of the mentality down here. People like, you know, they want to make money.
We all do. Yeah. Hey, look, so I know it's like, you know, we're getting to that time. We're probably got to wrap up here, but please share with our viewers and our listeners, you know, where they can reach you at and how they can check out your business.
Sure, yeah. If you want to connect with me, I'm on LinkedIn, Jeremy Johnson. You can search me by my company name, which is John Rich Media, or you can search me by Flyer. Also welcome people to come check out our Flyer webcast. What we do is we have a marketplace we're rolling out for alternative investments. Right now, it's got 700 different tags for different business categories to help you find different investments. But then also we do webcasts where we, when there are different businesses or funds that are trying to raise capital, we go by education. So instead of them trying to sell you, hey, invest in my deal, we get them to explain and educate, which, like you said, is very important, what they offer. And then through that, they're able to earn investment. So check that out as well. And that's at events.flyaia.org.
Hey, well, awesome, man. Hey, thank you so much for coming on, sharing your knowledge in the space. It's been very helpful to our viewers, and you're dropping gems left and right. So we definitely have to get you back up here.
Down anytime you need me. I appreciate the invite. Definitely. It's an honor to be up here. And I'm glad to have known you for so long, and excited when you guys come down. I'll show y'all around.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yep.
I'll be there in August.
Yep.
Nice. It's going to be hot as all get out.
Stick
Trust me.
around. Stick around because I got one more thing to ask you before you go. But cool. This is Crypto Convos, 3rd episode. It was nice having you guys here, and we'll see you next time. All right? Peace.